Due to continuing flooding in the Yangtze River Basin in China, the Meteorological Observatory has issued its strongest rainfall warning. The safety of a series of dams along the Three Gorges and the Yangtze River has attracted much attention. On June 23, there was news that the Three Gorges Dam has secretly been releasing its excessive waters. This, along with heavy rainfall, poses a major threat to downstream cities and towns. A recent Twitter video taken in the Sichuan province revealed how the heavy rains were dangerously swelling the Dadu and Jialing rivers, both upstream to the Three Gorges Reservoir. The flooding in those rivers had nearly exceeded the rising waters that occurred on June 22, and it was on that date that Yichang City, located just 400 kilometers from the Three Gorges Reservoir, had been seriously flooded. Also on June 22, the Chongqing Hydrological Monitoring Station issued a red warning that yet another river upstream to the Three Gorges Reservoir, the Yichang River, would likely experience its largest flooding in history. It said flooding would occur within 8 hours of their warning. It's important to note that this was the first red warning that had been issued since the reservoir was built in 1940. And as a result, people living outside of the region are becoming deeply concerned about the safety of residents along the Qingjing River. In effect, the upstream flooding in Sichuan province and Zhejiang poses a clear threat to the structural integrity of the Three Gorges Dam. The Twitter account of Finance Lingyang, who has been paying attention to the mounting dangers posed by this unfolding story, recently warned that the heavy rains are likely to continue, and the Three Gorges Dam can only protect itself from the upstream flooding by rapidly lowering its swollen water levels. But by doing so, he said, Wuhan, which is located downstream from the discharging waters, is likely to be sacrificed. According to citizens of Hong Kong, it is happening. They base this claim on information they found online on June 23, from information published on a website operated by the Ministry of Water Resources. Waters behind the Three Gorges Dam is quietly being released despite the obvious dangers this poses. Now, this website routinely reports on the water flowage into and out of the Three Gorges Reservoir. And at 10 p.m. on June 22, there was no data on the dam's water's intakes. But the website noted how the water output had reached 27,700 cubic meters per second. To help put this into perspective, 27,700 cubic meters of water would fill 15 standard-sized swimming pools. So, imagine emptying 15 swimming pools per second. That's the volume and the rate of water that's intentionally being released from the Three Gorges Dam and consequently threatening any downstream cities. But unfortunately, the dam's authorities failed to issue any official warnings about the looming dangers. Yet, as I noted earlier, unofficial warnings have been issued and were not acted upon. As example, on June 22, the CCTV Finance Channel reported that due to heavy rainfalls, the Three Gorges Reservoir was already 2 meters above its 147-meter flood control limit. This report raised suspicions that CCTV might be leaking information that would place blame for any disaster on the dam's unresponsive authorities. Also on June 22, the Central Meteorological Observatory warned about dangers posed by heavy rains in the Yangtze River Basin. They warned that from the 22nd to the 25th of June, Guizhou, Hunan, Hubei, Jiangxi, Anhui, and Guangxi will have the strongest rainfall since the flood season began, and the possibility of disasters was very high. The observatory alluded to the need for additional warnings. Due to these and other unofficial warnings, and the apparent lack of an official response to them, the outside world is becoming increasingly worried that a dozen provinces and cities, including Hunan, Hubei, Jiangxi, Anhui, Jiangsu, and Shanghai, are all in grave danger.